The morning started like any other aboard the mining station Kepler 442. Commander Sarah Chen was reviewing daily reports when the long-range sensors picked up something that made her coffee cup freeze halfway to her lips. "Commander, you need to see this," called Lieutenant Torres from the communications array. His voice carried that particular tension that came with the unknown. Sarah moved to his station, her boots clicking against the metal deck plating. The mining station orbited a resource-rich asteroid field in what humans had designated as Sector 7, about 40 light-years from Earth. It was supposed to be empty space, far from any known alien territories. "What am I looking at, Torres?" she asked, studying the sensor readout. "Unknown vessel, ma'am. About 2,000 kilometers off our starboard bow. It's been sitting there for the past 6 hours, not moving, not responding to our standard greeting protocols." Sarah frowned. The ship on the display looked nothing like human technology. It was sleek, organic-looking, with flowing curves that seemed to pulse with bioluminescent patterns. Beautiful, but definitely alien. "Any signs of hostile intent?" she asked. "Negative, Commander. No weapons lock, no aggressive positioning. If anything, it seems damaged." Sarah studied the readings more carefully. Torres was right. The alien vessel's energy signatures were fluctuating wildly, and debris was slowly drifting away from its hull. "Commander," came another voice from across the bridge. Ensign Parker, their xenobiology specialist, was practically vibrating with excitement. "I'm reading life signs aboard that vessel. Multiple species, actually. This could be first contact." Sarah felt the weight of the moment settling on her shoulders. First contact protocols were clear. Establish peaceful communication, assess intentions, and contact Earth immediately. But something about this situation felt different. The ship wasn't exploring or posturing. It was dying. "Open a channel. All frequencies," she ordered. Torres worked his console for several minutes. "Channel open, Commander. Unknown vessel. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the human mining station Kepler 442. We have detected your ship, and note you may be in distress. Do you require assistance?" Silence stretched across the void between them. Then, crackling through the static, came a response that would change everything. The voice was melodic, almost musical, but carried undertones of desperation. The universal translator, still working to decode the language patterns, provided a choppy translation. "Human. Vessel. We. Acknowledge. Dire. Circumstances. Require." The transmission cut out, replaced by static. "Torres, can you clean that up?" Sarah asked. "Working on it, ma'am." His fingers danced across the controls. "The translator needs more sample data to establish proper linguistic patterns." Another transmission came through, clearer this time. "Human station. We are the vessel Harmony's Edge from the Galactic Cooperation Council. Our ship has suffered catastrophic failure. We carry refugees from the Zephyrian conflict. Many are injured. We humbly request any assistance you might provide." Sarah's mind raced. The Galactic Cooperation Council? She'd never heard of it. Which meant Earth wasn't a member. These aliens were asking for help from a species they probably considered primitive. "Commander," Parker whispered urgently, "the energy readings from their ship are dropping fast. Whatever's wrong over there, they don't have long." Sarah made her decision. "Unknown vessel, Harmony's Edge. This is Commander Chen. We will render assistance. Please transmit details of your emergency and casualties." The relief in the alien voice was palpable. "Commander Chen, I am Navigator Prime Xylos of the Harmony's Edge. Our quantum containment systems have failed. We have 47 souls aboard, 12 critically injured. Our life support systems will fail within 4 of your hours. We did not expect to find sapient life in this sector." "Neither did we," Sarah muttered, then keyed her communicator. "All stations. This is the commander. We have a situation. Engineering. I need to know our capacity for emergency life support. Medical. Prepare for potential alien casualties with unknown physiology. Science. Start running every scan you can on that vessel. The mining station. designed for a crew of 23, suddenly felt very small. Over the next hour, Sarah learned more about galactic politics than Earth had discovered in all its years of space exploration. The Galactic Cooperation Council was exactly what it sounded like, a massive alliance of spacefaring species working together for mutual benefit. The Zephyrian conflict was a civil war that had spilled over into Council space, creating millions of refugees. Navigator Prime Xylos, through increasingly clear communications as the translator adapted, explained their situation. The Harmony's Edge was a rescue ship that had taken on refugees from 12 different species fleeing the conflict. During their escape, they'd been hit by an energy weapon that destabilized their quantum power core. The irony, Xylos said with what the translator interpreted as bitter humor, is that we were fleeing to the outer rim to avoid further conflict. We thought this sector was uninhabited. Why didn't your council know about humans? Sarah asked, genuinely curious. Your species only recently achieved faster than light travel, yes? The council typically waits 50 standard cycles before making contact with new spacefaring civilizations. It allows time to observe and ensure peaceful intentions. Sarah did quick math in her head. 50 of their years would be about 65 Earth years. Humanity had achieved faster than light travel only 15 years ago. Commander, came Chief Engineer Martinez's voice over the comm. I've analyzed their schematics. Their quantum containment system is way beyond our tech. But the basic problem is recognizable. It's like a fusion reactor going critical, but with exotic matter. We can't fix their system, but we might be able to stabilize it long enough for them to reach a proper repair facility. What would that require? Direct physical intervention. Someone would need to go aboard their ship and manually install stabilization clamps we'd manufacture here. The radiation exposure would be significant. Sarah felt a chill. How significant? Probably fatal for unprotected humans. But their ship has some kind of bioadaptive shielding that might protect our people long enough to do the job. Commander. Dr. Kim's voice joined the conversation from the medical bay. I've been analyzing the biological data they transmitted. These refugees, some of the species are barely surviving in their current environment. If we don't get them stabilized soon, we're looking at multiple deaths. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, thinking of the weight of 47 lives hanging in the balance. When she opened them, her decision was made. Navigator Prime Xylos, we're going to help you. We'll need to send a team aboard your vessel to perform emergency repairs. Can your systems protect our people from the radiation? Commander Chen, Xylos replied, and something in the translation suggested deep emotion. Your willingness to risk your people for strangers. This is not common in the galaxy. Yes, our bioadaptive fields can protect your team, but the risk remains significant. Understood. We'll need detailed schematics of the areas our people will need to access. As the technical details flowed between ships, Sarah found herself thinking about first contact protocols. According to procedure, she should have contacted Earth immediately and waited for instructions. Instead, she was about to send her people aboard an alien vessel to perform emergency repairs using technology decades ahead of human capability. But 47 lives were at stake. Commander, Torres called out, I'm picking up additional contacts on long-range sensors. 3 ships, approaching fast from the direction of the galactic core. Sarah felt her stomach drop. Xylos, are you expecting company? The pause before his response told her everything she needed to know. Commander Chen, those are likely Zephyrian pursuit vessels. They have been hunting refugee ships. We had hoped to lose them in the outer rim. Are they hostile? To refugees, yes. To unknown species. Another pause. The Zephyrians are not known for their diplomatic restraint. If they believe you are sheltering their enemies, they may consider you a legitimate target. Sarah looked at the tactical display. The approaching ships were larger than the Harmony's Edge and moving fast. Her mining station had basic defensive systems. Nothing designed for actual combat. How long until they arrive? She asked Torres. At their current speed, approximately 90 minutes, Commander. Sarah did quick mental calculations. Even if her repair team succeeded immediately, It would take the refugees at least 2 hours to get their ship operational enough to escape. They would still be here when the Zephyrians arrived. "Commander," came Martinez's voice again, "I have a team ready to go. Jenkins, Rodriguez, and myself. We've fabricated the stabilization clamps and protective gear." "Negative, Chief. I can't ask you to take that risk." "Ma'am, with respect, you're not asking. We're volunteering. Those people over there are going to die if we don't act, and frankly, if hostile aliens show up here in 90 minutes, we're all going to have bigger problems than radiation exposure." Aftersense. Sarah looked around her bridge. Every face showed the same determination she felt in her gut. These people had signed up to mine asteroids, not to perform desperate alien rescues while hostile forces approached, but not one of them was backing down. "All right, Chief. You have go authorization. Torres, start transmitting a distress signal back to Earth. Let them know what we're dealing with. Parker, I want you monitoring those incoming vessels. Any change in their approach vector or speed, I want to know immediately." As her engineering team prepared to transfer to the alien vessel, Sarah found herself wondering what Earth Command would say about her decisions. Probably nothing good, but she'd worry about her career later. Right now, she had 47 lives to save and hostile aliens incoming. "Xylos," she said into the comm, "we're coming over. Be ready to activate your protective systems." "Commander Chen," the alien replied, "there are no words in my language to express our gratitude. If we survive this, the Council will know of humanity's courage." "Let's focus on the surviving part first," Sarah said, watching her engineering team launch in their maintenance pod toward the alien vessel. On her tactical display, the 3 hostile contacts continued their relentless approach. Whatever happened next, Sarah realized, Earth's introduction to galactic politics was about to become very complicated indeed. The pod docked with the alien vessel just as Parker reported the incoming ships had increased speed. They were now 50 minutes out. Sarah settled in to wait, knowing that in less than an hour, her quiet mining station would either be the site of a successful rescue or humanity's first interstellar incident. She really hoped it would be the former. The maintenance pod sealed against the alien ship's docking port, with a soft hiss that seemed unnaturally loud in the tense silence. Chief Engineer Martinez checked his radiation monitor one last time before stepping through the airlock. What greeted him on the other side defied every expectation he'd built during 20 years of space engineering. The corridor beyond the airlock was alive, not metaphorically, but literally. The walls pulsed with gentle bioluminescent patterns, and the floor had a subtle give to it, like walking on living tissue. The air itself seemed to shimmer with an energy field that made his skin tingle. "Holy," Rodriguez started, then caught himself. "Chief, are you seeing this?" "I see it, Rodriguez. Stay focused." Martinez activated his comlink. "Commander, we're aboard the Harmony's Edge. The bioadaptive shielding is definitely active. Radiation levels are dropping to acceptable levels." A figure approached them from down the corridor, and Martinez had to remind himself to breathe. Navigator Prime Xylos was tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that shifted between deep blue and purple depending on the lighting. 4 arms moved with fluid grace, and his large, multifaceted eyes held an intelligence that was unmistakably ancient. "Chief Engineer Martinez," Xylos said, his voice a melodic harmony even without the translator. "Welcome aboard the Harmony's Edge. I must warn you, what you are about to see may be distressing." As they moved deeper into the ship, Martinez understood what Xylos meant. The refugees were everywhere. Beings of shapes and sizes that challenged human imagination huddled in corridors, some tending to wounded companions. A creature that looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a jellyfish was carefully bandaging something that might have been a walking crystal formation. 12 species, Xylos explained as they walked, all fleeing the Zephyrian expansion. The war began as a civil conflict, but the aggressive faction has decided that any species not explicitly supporting them must be eliminated. Jenkins, the youngest member of the engineering team, stopped in front of a group of small, furry beings that looked remarkably like Earth's extinct lemurs. If lemurs had 6 arms and spoke in musical tones. They're children, he said softly. Yes, Xylos replied. The young ones adapt better to ship travel. Many families sent their children ahead, while the adults remained to resist the Zephyrian advance. Rodriguez clenched his fists. They're targeting kids? The Zephyrians believe that eliminating young populations prevents future resistance. It is efficient, from their perspective. Martinez felt a cold anger building in his chest, but forced himself to focus on the mission. They had less than 40 minutes before the pursuit vessels arrived. The quantum containment chamber was a marvel of engineering that made human fusion reactors look like campfires. A sphere of exotic matter hung suspended in a complex web of energy fields. But even to Martinez's untrained eye, the containment was failing. Cracks of raw energy leaked through the containment matrix, and the entire chamber hummed with barely contained power. The weapon that struck us disrupted the quantum harmonics, Xylos explained. Your stabilization clamps should provide enough support to allow emergency shutdown and restart. Martinez studied the schematics on his tablet, comparing them to the actual machinery. Rodriguez, you take the lower mounting points. Jenkins, you're with me, on the upper array. We need perfect synchronization when we activate these clamps, or we'll just make the problem worse. As they worked, Martinez found himself in conversation with Xylos. Despite the desperate circumstances, the alien seemed genuinely curious about human engineering approaches. Your technology is remarkably robust, Xylos observed as Martinez calibrated a stabilization clamp. We have observed many species at your developmental stage. Most focus on efficiency and elegance. Humans seem to prioritize reliability and redundancy. Where we come from, if something breaks down, you fix it with whatever you have available, Martinez replied, securing a mounting bracket with what was essentially an alien version of a wrench. Pretty engineering doesn't help much when you're dying in space. A practical philosophy. It serves you well in this situation. Chief, came Rodriguez's voice from below. I'm reading massive energy fluctuations from those pursuit ships. Whatever weapons they're carrying, they pack a lot more punch than anything on our mining station. Martinez's comm crackled with Commander Chen's voice. Chief, update on your progress? The hostiles are 30 minutes out, and they're not responding to any of our communication attempts. We're close, Commander. Give us 15 more minutes. Copy that. Be advised, I've been in contact with Navigator Xylos about evacuation procedures for the refugees. Our station can accommodate maybe 12 beings in emergency conditions. Martinez paused in his work. 47 refugees, 12 spots. The math was grim. Xylos, he said quietly. What happens to the others? The aliens' color patterns shifted to deeper purples, which the translation interface indicated as profound sadness. The young ones, and the most severely injured, would have priority. The rest of us, we knew the risks when we chose to run. Like hell, Jenkins said from his position above them. No one gets left behind. Jenkins. Martinez started. But the young engineer was already working faster, his hands moving with desperate efficiency. Chief, I've been thinking about this problem wrong. We don't need to fix their quantum containment perfectly. We just need to stabilize it enough for their ship to jump to faster-than-light travel. Their jump drive requires the quantum core at full efficiency, Xylos said. No, it doesn't. Jenkins was practically vibrating with excitement. Look at the power requirements. Their jump drive needs steady power, not maximum power. If we reconfigure the stabilization matrix to prioritize consistency over output, we can get them jump-capable in 5 minutes instead of 50. Martinez studied Jenkins's suggested modifications. The kid was right. But the solution was typically human. Crude, inelegant, and absolutely functional. Xylos, would that work? The alien's patterns shifted to what Martinez was learning indicated deep thought. It would reduce our jump range significantly. We would need multiple short jumps instead of a single long-range escape, but it would get you moving now? Yes. Then let's do it. They worked with desperate efficiency, reconfiguring delicate alien technology with human engineering principles. Where the original design called for perfect harmonic resonance, they installed brute force stabilization. Where elegant energy cascades had failed, they substituted reliable mechanical backups. "Commander," Martinez called over the comm. "We're ready for power-up sequence." "Copy that, Chief. Be advised. The pursuit vessels just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They'll be in weapons range in 12 minutes. Martinez looked at Xylos. "Will your people be ready?" "The injured are being secured. Children are already in emergency pods. If your modification works, we can be moving in 6 minutes. And if it doesn't work?" Xylos's patterns shifted to deep blue. "Then we die here together. And hope that the Zephyrians show mercy to your station." "They won't, will they?" Rodriguez asked. "No, they will not." Martinez activated his comm. "Commander, when we power up this quantum core, there's going to be a massive energy signature. The incoming hostiles will know exactly where we are and what we're doing." "Understood, Chief. We'll deal with that problem when it comes." "There's one more thing," Martinez continued. "If this modification fails catastrophically, the explosion will probably take out both ships and anything within a few hundred kilometers." Sarah Chen's voice was calm when she replied, "Chief, do we have any choice?" Martinez looked around at the refugees, at the children being loaded into emergency pods, at Xylos waiting patiently for a decision that could save or doom them all. "No, ma'am, we don't." "Then, light it up." Martinez initiated the power sequence. The quantum core hummed, then roared to life with a sound that seemed to vibrate through dimensions humans didn't have names for. The stabilization clamps held, the energy output stabilized, and the Harmony's edge shuddered as its engines came online. "It works," Jenkins shouted over the noise. "Quantum harmonics are stable. They've got jump capability." "Magnificent work," Xylos said, his patterns now shifting to bright gold. "Chief Engineer Martinez, your people have just saved 47 lives with technology that should be impossible for your species to understand." "Commander," came Torres's urgent voice over the comm. "The pursuit vessels are hailing the alien ship. I'm patching it through." The new voice that came over the communication system was harsh, mechanical, and carried undertones of absolute authority. "Refugee vessel Harmony's Edge, you are harboring enemies of the Zephyrian expansion. Surrender your passengers for processing or be destroyed." Xylos responded with dignity that impressed Martinez. "Zephyrian Command, these are civilian refugees fleeing military action. They are protected under Galactic Cooperation Council Resolution 847. The Council's authority is not recognized in this matter. You have 30 seconds to comply." Martinez felt his blood turn to ice. 30 seconds wasn't enough time to get his team back to their pod, much less return to the mining station. "Xylos," he said, "get your people out of here. We'll manage somehow." "Chief Engineer Martinez, I cannot abandon the beings who saved my people." "You're not abandoning us. You're completing the mission. Those refugees, those children, they need to reach safety. Go." Martinez activated his comm. "Commander, we're staying aboard the Harmony's Edge. Get the station ready for defensive action." "Negative, Chief. Return to station immediately." "Ma'am, there's no time. The alien ship needs to jump now, and we need to make sure their repairs hold during the transition. If we leave and something fails, everyone dies anyway." Sarah's voice was tight with emotion when she replied, "Chief, I can't order you to sacrifice yourselves." "You're not ordering, Commander. We're volunteering." Martinez looked at Rodriguez and Jenkins. Both men nodded grimly. "Besides," Rodriguez added, "someone needs to see how alien jump technology works. Might as well be us." For one, the Zephyrian commander's voice cut through their conversation. Time expired, commencing attack. On the display screens, Martinez could see the 3 pursuit vessels moving into attack formation. They were sleek, predatory-looking ships that seemed designed for one purpose: destruction. "Xylos, jump now," Martinez ordered. "Chief Martinez, the jump will take us beyond communication range. If your station survives this encounter, how will your people find you?" Martinez smiled grimly. Don't worry about us. Humans are good at surviving impossible situations. It's kind of our thing. The Harmony's Edge's jump drive engaged with a reality-twisting sensation that made Martinez's stomach feel like it was turning inside out. The last thing he saw on the external sensors before the alien ship translated into faster-than-light travel was the mining station Kepler 442, looking impossibly small and fragile against the approaching Zephyrian vessels. Then they were gone, jumping through space towards safety, carrying 3 humans and 47 aliens away from immediate danger. But behind them, Commander Sarah Chen and her crew faced 3 hostile alien warships, with nothing but a mining station and human stubbornness. Martinez just hoped it would be enough. Commander Sarah Chen watched the Harmony's Edge disappear into faster-than-light travel, just as the first Zephyrian energy beam struck her station's shields. The mining station shuddered under the impact, systems throughout the facility crying out warnings. Shields down to 60%. Torres reported, his voice steady despite the situation. They're using some kind of directed energy weapon I've never seen before. Sarah gripped her command chair as another beam struck home. These weren't the relatively gentle mining lasers her station was designed to withstand. These were weapons of war. All stations, this is the commander. We are under attack by unknown hostile forces. Implement emergency protocols. She activated the general comm. This is not a drill. All personnel to emergency stations. The mining station Kepler 442 had never been designed for combat. It was a civilian facility intended to extract resources from asteroid fields, with basic defensive systems meant to deflect debris and deter pirates. Against 3 military vessels, it was hopelessly outmatched. But Sarah had spent 15 years in space, and she'd learned that being outmatched didn't mean being beaten. Torres, open a channel to the lead Zephyrian vessel. Channel open, Commander. Zephyrian vessels. This is Commander Sarah Chen, of the human mining station Kepler 442. You are firing upon a civilian facility in neutral space. Cease your attack immediately. The response was immediate and dismissive. Human Commander, you have aided enemies of the Zephyrian expansion. Your station will be destroyed as an example to others who would interfere with our operations. Sarah felt a cold anger settle in her chest. We provided emergency humanitarian aid to a damaged vessel. That's not an act of war. Your species' legal interpretations are irrelevant. Prepare to be destroyed. The second wave of energy beams struck with coordinated precision, targeting the station's power grid and defensive systems. Lights flickered throughout the command center, and Sarah could hear the groaning of stressed metal. Commander, came Dr. Kim's voice from the medical bay. We've got injured personnel. Whatever those weapons are, they're causing some kind of radiation effect that's getting through our shielding. Understood, Doctor. Do what you can. Sarah turned to her tactical officer. Parker, what do we have for offensive capabilities? Ensign Parker looked up from his console with an expression that mixed fear and determination. Mining lasers, industrial tractor beams, and about 50 tons of processed titanium steel alloy we were planning to ship back to Earth. That's it? Ma'am, we also have 6 industrial maintenance pods and the mining charges we use for asteroid demolition. Sarah's mind raced. Military tactics weren't part of mining station training, but she'd grown up reading history. Sometimes the most effective weapons were the ones your enemy didn't expect. Torres, how long until our distress signal reaches Earth? At current transmission power, about 6 hours, Commander. Even if they responded immediately, the nearest patrol vessel is 4 days away. 4 days. Sarah looked at her tactical display. At the rate the Zephyrians were systematically destroying her station's systems, they had maybe 30 minutes. Parker, I want you to download everything we have about human technology, culture, and military capability into a compressed data package. Include all sensor logs from our encounter with the refugees. Ma'am, if we don't make it, Earth needs to know what's coming. Attach it to an emergency beacon and launch it toward human space. As Parker worked, Sarah studied the enemy formation. The 3 Zephyrian vessels were maintaining a standard attack pattern, staying at maximum weapons range to minimize risk. It was tactically sound and would ensure the systematic destruction of her station. It was also predictable. Torres, can you give me a direct line to Chief Martinez? Commander, the chief is aboard the alien vessel. They jumped out of communication range. Sarah cursed under her breath. Martinez would have understood what she was planning. Instead, she'd have to work with what she had. All available personnel to the command center, she announced over the station comm. I need volunteers for a special mission. Within minutes, her small command center was crowded with the remaining station crew. 18 people, most of them civilian contractors who'd signed up to mine asteroids, not fight alien warships. People, Sarah began. I'm not going to lie to you. We're outgunned, outmanned, and outclassed. Those ships out there are going to destroy our station whether we fight back or not. She could see the fear in their faces, but also something else. Determination. However, we have one advantage. They don't know anything about humans. They think we're a typical spacefaring species with typical technology and typical tactics. They're wrong. Torres looked up from his console. Commander, what are you planning? Sarah smiled grimly. We're going to show them why humans have a reputation for being unpredictable. The plan she outlined was insane, desperate, and violated every principle of space combat doctrine. It was also exactly the kind of thing that might work against an enemy who expected conventional tactics. Henderson, I need you to modify 3 of our mining charges. Maximum yield, proximity detonation, and I want them fitted with our strongest beacon transmitters. Ma'am, those charges are designed for asteroid work. Against military shields. They won't get through the shields. That's not the point. I need you to prepare medical supplies and emergency rations for potential survivors. Commander, are we abandoning station? No, Doctor. We're going to make sure someone survives to tell Earth what happened here. As her crew scattered to implement the plan, Sarah remained on the command deck with Torres and Parker. The Zephyrian vessels continued their methodical destruction of the station's systems, each energy beam strike bringing them closer to complete power failure. Torres, can you patch me into the station's emergency broadcast system? Done. Commander. Sarah took a deep breath. What she was about to do would either save her people or doom them all. Attention Zephyrian vessels, she transmitted on all frequencies. This is Commander Chen. I have a proposal. The energy beam strikes ceased immediately. Speak quickly, human commander. Your station is minutes from destruction. Single combat. Your best ship against our best defensive capability. If you win, you destroy our station as planned. If we somehow manage to survive your attack, you withdraw and leave human space alone. The silence stretched for long minutes. Finally, the Zephyrian commander responded with what sounded like amusement. You propose to fight a military vessel with a mining station? That's correct. Your terms are acceptable. You have 10 minutes to prepare your defenses. Sarah smiled. The Zephyrians had just made a classic mistake. They'd underestimated human ingenuity. Torres, activate the mining laser array. Full power. But don't target their ships. I want you to start carving up that large asteroid about 2,000 kilometers off our port bow. Commander, I don't understand. That asteroid is nowhere near the enemy vessels. Trust me, Torres. Parker, start transmitting our modified mining charges toward the enemy formation. Make it look like a desperate last-ditch attack. Ma'am, you said those charges wouldn't penetrate their shields. They won't. But they'll provide excellent cover for what comes next. As the mining lasers carved into the distant asteroid, Sarah activated the station's industrial tractor beam array. Designed to move massive chunks of processed metal, the tractor beams were far more powerful than anything typically found on military vessels. Henderson, are the beacon transmitters active on those mining charges? Yes, Commander. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Perfect. Torres, I want you to use our tractor beams to grab the largest chunk of asteroid debris you can manage. Something about the size of a city block. Understanding dawned in Torres's eyes. Ma'am, that's brilliant. The Zephyrian vessels detected the mining charges and destroyed them with casual ease, exactly as Sarah had expected. But the explosions and beacon signals created a brief sensor shadow, hiding what the tractor beams were doing. "Commander," Parker called out. "The lead Zephyrian vessel is moving into attack position. They're charging some kind of massive energy weapon. How long until they fire?" 30 seconds, ma'am." Sarah watched her tactical display as the tractor beams accelerated a chunk of asteroid debris toward the enemy formation. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't sophisticated. It was a mining station throwing rocks at military vessels. It was also moving at nearly 10% of light speed. "All hands, brace for impact," Sarah announced. The Zephyrian commander's voice crackled over the comm, filled with condescension. "Human commander, your desperate attacks have failed. Prepare for destruction." The massive energy weapon fired, a beam of concentrated force that struck the mining station's shields with devastating effect. Emergency lights flickered throughout the station as power systems overloaded, but Sarah was watching something else on her tactical display. The asteroid chunk, accelerated by the station's industrial tractor beams to unprecedented velocity, struck the lead Zephyrian vessel's shields like the fist of an angry god. Military shields were designed to deflect energy weapons and metal projectiles. They were not designed to handle several million tons of rock moving at relativistic speeds. The impact was spectacular. The lead vessel's shields collapsed instantly, and the rock continued through the ship's hull with barely diminished velocity. The resulting explosion lit up the tactical display like a miniature star. "Target destroyed," Parker shouted. "Commander, they're gone. The other two vessels are retreating." But Sarah wasn't celebrating yet. The mining station had taken massive damage from the Zephyrian weapon strike. Half their systems were offline, and she could feel the artificial gravity fluctuating. "Damage report," she called out. The reports came in from throughout the station. Severe damage, but no casualties. They'd survived. "Commander," Torres said, his voice filled with awe. "We just destroyed a military vessel with mining equipment." "No, Torres. We destroyed a military vessel with human ingenuity." Sarah activated the general comm. "All hands, this is the commander. Stand down from emergency stations. Begin damage assessment and repair operations." As her crew worked to restore their battered station, Sarah found herself thinking about the larger implications of what had just happened. Earth had just been introduced to galactic politics in the most dramatic way possible, and the galaxy had gotten its first real look at human problem-solving abilities. 3 days later, the first human patrol vessel arrived in response to their distress signal. Captain Williams of the destroyer Defiance listened to Sarah's report with growing amazement. "Commander, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You helped alien refugees escape from hostile forces, then defeated a military vessel using mining equipment?" "That's correct, Captain." "And the aliens we helped? What happened to them?" Before Sarah could answer, her communications array lit up with an incoming message. The signal was coming from far beyond human space, but the voice was familiar. "Commander Chen, this is Navigator Prime Xylos of the vessel Harmony's Edge. We have safely delivered our refugees to Council Space, and I wanted to express our gratitude once more." "It's good to hear from you, Xylos. How are your people?" "All recovered and safe, thanks to your engineers' remarkable work." "Commander, I have news. The Galactic Cooperation Council has voted to offer immediate membership to humanity, bypassing the usual 50-cycle waiting period." Captain Williams raised an eyebrow. "That's significant?" "Captain Williams," Xylos continued, having somehow detected the new voice, "it means your species has been invited to join an alliance of over 300 spacefaring civilizations. The Council is particularly interested in human engineering approaches and tactical innovations." Sarah smiled. "I think they mean our tendency to solve problems by throwing rocks at them. Among other things, yes. Your species' creativity in crisis situations has attracted considerable attention. There is also the matter of the Zephyrian expansion." "What about them?" Sarah asked. "The destruction of their pursuit vessel has sent a clear message throughout the galaxy. A species that can defeat military vessels with civilian equipment is not to be underestimated. The Zephyrian expansion has agreed to negotiations rather than continued military action." Captain Williams shook his head in amazement. "Commander Chen, I think you've just changed the course of human history." "Not just human history," came another voice over the communication system. Chief Martinez's voice was tired but triumphant. "Commander, this is Chief Martinez aboard the Harmony's Edge. You need to see the technical data we've gathered. The aliens have been sharing their technology databases with us." "Chief, it's good to hear you're safe. How are Rodriguez and Jenkins?" "Alive, ma'am, and currently learning alien engineering techniques that are going to revolutionize human technology. Jenkins has been working with their quantum theorists, and Rodriguez has been adapting their power systems for human use." Sarah felt a surge of pride in her people. Even stranded on an alien vessel, they'd continued to do their jobs. "Commander," Xylos added, "your engineers will be returned to human space with the next Council diplomatic mission. They have become quite popular among our technical specialists." "How popular?" Sarah asked. "Popular enough that 17 different species have requested human engineering consultants for their most challenging technical problems. It seems that human approaches to impossible situations are considered quite valuable." Captain Williams leaned back in his chair. "Commander Chen, when I write my report about this incident, no one at Earth Command is going to believe it. Tell them to check the sensor logs, Captain. Everything is documented. A mining station defeating military vessels with mining equipment. Civilian engineers successfully repairing alien quantum technology. Refugees from a dozen species saved by human initiative." Williams shook his head. "Commander, they're going to want to court-martial you for violating first contact protocols and give you a medal for saving the galaxy." Sarah looked out the viewport at the stars, now knowing that each point of light might harbor allies instead of unknowns. "Captain, I think humanity's quiet days in the galaxy are over." She was right. Within a year, human engineering teams would be scattered across Council space, solving impossible problems with characteristically human approaches. Human tactical advisors would be helping species develop new defensive strategies, and human diplomats would be learning that sometimes the galaxy's problems could be solved with the same combination of courage and ingenuity that had saved 47 refugees and defeated 3 warships. But none of that would have happened without one mining station crew's willingness to help strangers in need, regardless of the consequences. As Captain Williams often said in his subsequent lectures at the Naval Academy, "Never underestimate humans in impossible situations. We have a gift for making the impossible merely improbable." The galaxy was learning that lesson the hard way.